Good morning, students.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Right. So today's class we'll be learning about two important binary operations again. That is join and division. Okay. In the last class, I think we had started with join, but maybe we went a little ahead. I just want to start again from the same thing so that you'll get a quick recap on where we exactly stopped in the last class, right? So in the SQL, we have already been using join operation. Maybe you didn't know that it is join, but we are already using in all most of our queries. Now join is used whenever you want to relate two different tables. Okay. In the ER diagram, we have written like we have two entities. So we try to relate these two entities. Now, when we try to relate these two entities, there should be some common attribute relating these two entities, right? So we have seen that, for example, if I again take the same example, student borrows books. Okay, two different entities you are trying to relate using the relationship called as borrows. Okay. Now, if you want to convert it into a table, obviously there should be some attribute which is common to student as well as book. Let us say it could be USN or it could be book ID. So you are trying to relate. That is where your join comes in. All right. So that's where I think we had actually stopped. So we start from join again. So it's again a binary relation operation. Binary relation means you are going to apply this operation on two different tables. You cannot apply it on a single table. Select and project, we saw two operations which were unary. That is, we applied it on single table. Okay. This slide, I think we went up to equi-join, but still again, I will start from join itself so that if there are any clarifications, we can take it up again. So this is a symbol that is used for join when you talk in terms of relational algebra. In case of relational algebra, this is how you represent the join. So join is used to combine tuples, related tuples from two relations into single tuples. Okay. How do you, I told you, it allows to process the relationships among the relations. Relation means table, relationship means the association between the table. Now, what is the syntax? This is how you write the join operation. Look at the symbol R and then that symbol join condition yes. Here R and S both are tables or both are relations. So what will be the number of attributes in your result? So number of attributes in your result will be n plus m. That means n number of attributes are there in R in the table 1. M number of attributes are there in the table 2. So you will have total of n plus m tables. Oh, sorry, n plus m attributes. So you are applying, this is one table R with all these attributes A1, A2, A3 up to AN. You have another table S which has these attributes B1, B2 up to Bn. You are applying a join on these two tables. So you will get one more new relation Q, the resultant table, which is going to have all the attributes of A, all the attributes of S, all the attributes of R and all the attributes of S. What about the number of tuples? Number of tuples, wherever the join condition is satisfied, only those tuples will appear in the result. But attributes, everything will appear. Am I clear? Yeah. Now, what is the difference between join operation and Cartesian product? We have seen already Cartesian product. Cartesian product is nothing but you apply a cross product R into S. You apply a cross product between R and S or between the two tables. The difference between join and Cartesian product is in join operation you are specifying a condition, whereas in Cartesian product you are not specifying any condition at all. So all possible combinations will appear in your Cartesian product, whereas in join operation all the tuples will not appear. Only those tuples where the condition is satisfied, only those tuples will appear. But attribute wise, both in join as well as Cartesian product, all the attributes will come. But tuples, all possible combinations will come in case of Cartesian product. It will not come in case of join. See the first point. In join, combination of tuples satisfying the joining condition, only they will appear in the result. Whereas in Cartesian product, all combination of tuples are included in the result. In the last class, we saw examples of Cartesian product. Correct? All possible combinations will come. Yeah, join operation can be stated as a Cartesian product followed by select. On the Cartesian product that you are getting, if I apply a select operation, that's nothing but a join. Okay? Yes. Next. Join condition is of the form. How do you give the condition? So we give the condition like this. Condition and condition and condition. So you can combine the condition. So each condition, each of these conditions is of the form AI theta bi. Now, theta is a notation that we are simply giving in order to represent the generic operator or the generic operator, I should say. That means theta can take any operator. It's a general one. So AI theta bi, that is how my condition will look. Like that, I can go on combining several conditions. Now, when I say AI theta bi, so I told condition is always of the form AI theta bi. That is why you call it as theta join. There is no operation called theta. Okay. Theta is just an operator or a symbol rather, generic symbol, which can take any of these values. Which values? It can take any of these values. Equal to, less than, greater than or equal to, less than. It can take anything. Theta can take anything. Okay. So domain of AI should be equal to domain of BI when you apply the join. Then tuples whose join attributes are null do not appear in the result. If you have any null values, they will not appear in your result. This is an example of how do you represent a join operation. See, we are applying this join. This is a symbol for join, I told you. We are applying join between the tables S1, R1. Look at the way the condition is represented. S1 dot SID should be less than R1 dot SID. That is a condition. If this condition is satisfied, all those tuples where this ID of S is less than ID of R will appear. I think this is where we stopped in the last class. So first one, we go for equijoin. Equijoin means what? The theta is going to take the value equal to. Then you call it as equijoin. When the comparison used is equal to, it is called as equijoin. All the queries, most of the queries that we are writing in SQL, they are all equijoin. Okay, student S dot USN is equal to B dot USN. That's nothing but equijoin. You are representing a condition, operator used is equal to. You may not know the name, but we are all already using equijoin. The first lab exercise, all the queries we have used equijoin. Wherever you are trying to connect tables, joins will come. Most of the queries is all equijoin only. We wrote S1 dot USN is equal to B1 dot USN. Something like that we wrote. Now, what is that? That is nothing but equijoin. Right? Yeah. This example also we saw. So I am taking here two different tables, employee and dependent. Look at that. Employee has employee ID and name. And then you have dependent name and EID. Right? Look at my join condition. Employee, we are applying a join between employee and dependent. What is the condition? EMPID is equal to EID. So wherever this particular condition is satisfied, I am going to, all those tuples will come in my resultant relation. Okay. See, you are 101, 102 is matching with dependent. So that's why it has come. Whereas 103, there is no corresponding match in the dependent. So it will not appear in the resultant table. But attributes, what did I say? All the four attributes will come. See, we got EMPID, EID, name, dependent name. This appears twice. The same query, if you want to write it in SQL, how will you write it? Can anyone tell me? How do you write the same query in SQL? If you want to write the same query in SQL, select star from or select star from employee comma dependent where E dot EMPID is equal to D dot EID. That is how you will write it. Same query we can write using relational algebra by using these notations. Okay. Now, if you observe this result, there are two columns which are coming same. These two columns are duplicated. 101, 101, 102, 102. Why should I have this particular column getting repeated like this twice? Right? I don't want these two columns to be repeated. So what do I do then? What do I do is, I make use of one more type of join called as natural join. Now this natural join is shown in the form of a star. R star S is nothing but your natural join. When I apply natural join, I can avoid this kind of a problem, wherein same thing is appearing twice. I don't want that. It should appear only once because this is redundant. So if it has to appear only once, then you can apply natural join between the two tables. What is the condition to apply this natural join? Both the tables should have one same attribute with same name as the joining attribute. It should have the same attribute with the same name. Here you see, you have employee ID in employee, but in dependent we have EID. It is not employee ID, but it is EID. When can you apply natural join? When the names of these attributes are the same. Only then I can apply. Otherwise, I cannot apply. So in this case, what can I do? I can rename this attribute. Either EID I will rename or I will rename employee ID and then I will apply the natural join. So in that case, I can avoid this kind of a problem. So what is the condition? Both the tables should have one same attribute with same name as the joining attribute. If you don't have it, if attribute is same but name is different, that is what we saw in the example. EMPID, EID, attribute is same but name is different. So what to do? First you perform the rename, then apply the natural join. Either you rename EID as EMPID or EMPID as EID. Do the rename operation, then we apply the natural join. See, look at here. We have renamed this. We had this EID, is it not? Of course, the rename I have not shown here. We have made both the attributes as EMPID. That is my joining attribute. And then I give I perform this natural join. When I do that, I will get only once. So EMPID will appear only once. It will not appear twice. Right? Any doubts till here? Any questions? Any doubts? Any questions? So till here, most of it we had already covered in the last class, but still I wanted to go start from joins again. So that's why I took it up. We had already done up to equijoin in the last class. So equijoin, one new thing that we learned now is what is natural join. So natural join is when you apply equijoin, all the attributes will come. There is a chance that your attribute will get repeated twice, which you want to avoid. So if you want to avoid that, you can apply the natural join. But to apply natural join, what is the condition? You should condition is you should have the same attribute with the same name you should have. Right? If you don't have the attribute with the same name, then you should rename one of them, then apply it. Then you can avoid this natural join. Any questions so far? Any doubts? Are you all there or not?
Yes, ma'am.
No reply at all.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Right. So next, let us move on. So if the join condition is not satisfied, then no tuple will appear in the resultant relation. So join means only where the conditions are going to be satisfied. Only those tuples will come. If the condition is not going to get satisfied, then there will be no tuples in the relation. So number of tuples in different relations can vary. You may have in one table 6 records. In another table, you may have 7 records. So how many records you will have in the resultant relation? It is always between 0 and product of these two. Anywhere between that you will have. Okay. Right. M-way join operation. M-way join means what? You can have several levels or nested joins. We saw inner query, outer query, all that, is it not? You can have, or rather we had a couple of, combination of conditions. That is what is join, not the inner and the outer query. But you had a couple of joins. S.usn is equal to B.usn. That's one condition. And again, we made S.author ID is equal to B.author ID. Something like that. So that is nothing but your M-way join. Look at here. There are two conditions here. First, you are applying a join between project and department. Dnum is equal to dnumber. Then there is one more join here. MGR SSN is equal to SSN, which is on the employee. So you can have nested joins or different levels of joins, which is called as M-way join operation. Okay. This is one important example. Look at the example here. We have employee and I have taken SSN 10123 and so SSN and name are the attributes. Here I have dependent name and ESSN are the attributes. Can you give me the result of, or what is the difference between these two operations? Anyone? What is employee cross dependent? This one is which operation are we performing here?
Cartesian product.
Very good. So what is we are performing a Cartesian product between employee and dependent. All right. So I also told you that Cartesian product and then you apply a select on that. That is what we have done here. Is nothing but the join operation. Because we are representing a condition. Cartesian product will not have any conditions at all. We are simply taking all possible combinations between the two tables, employee and dependent. Join will always have, join is nothing but Cartesian product and a select operation can be considered as a join. So wherein a condition is coming in because of the select operation. So what are we doing here? This is only employee and dependent, employee cross dependent. So all possible combinations will come. Here, employee cross dependent on that result, on the Cartesian product, I'm applying this particular condition. Select where SSN is equal to ESSN. How many attributes you will have in this Cartesian product? First operation. How many attributes and how many tuples in the first operation?
6 tuples and 2 attributes.
6 tuples and
3 attributes.
why 3?
4 attributes, ma'am. 6
Yeah,
tuples,
why?
4 attributes.
Yes, 4 attributes, because m plus n. If first table has m attributes, second table has n attributes, the total number of attributes in the resultant table will be m plus n. And your number of tuples will be m cross n. 3 cross 2, so you will get 6 tuples. That is in the case of the first operation. What will happen in the second?
Two tuples, ma'am.
2 tuples, ma'am.
2 tuples only attributes. See here, I have shown both the result of both the operations. Employee cross dependent. You will have all the 4 attributes. That's what I told you. And so m plus n will be your number of attributes. And all possible combinations of the tuples. 6 tuples you will have. And there is no condition in Cartesian product. On the Cartesian product, I'll apply a condition that becomes a join. Here also you will have all the 4 attributes. But all the tuples will not come. Only condition where SSN is equal to ESSN. Only where the condition is satisfied. So 101 is equal to 101, 102 is equal to 102, whereas 103 is not there. So you will not get that in the result. So you will have 2 tuples and 4 attributes in case of join. You apply a select condition on the Cartesian product, that is nothing but your join operation. That is why I took up this example. First operation is just a Cartesian product. No condition, nothing. That's why all possible combinations will come. Whereas second one is a join condition, join operation it is. All the attributes will come, but all the tuples will not come. Tuples only where the condition is satisfied, only those tuples will come. Right? Any doubts up to here? Before we move on, any doubts, anyone? Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So we have seen what is Cartesian product in the last class itself. Today we saw what is join and what is the difference between Cartesian product and join. Okay. Next, let us see what do we mean by outer joins. What do we mean by outer join? We also have something called inner joins. So far, whatever we have done is all inner joins. We have not used outer join. In our SQL queries also, we have been doing all the joins that we have done is all inner joins. Okay, what do we mean by outer join? Now, you want to retain the tuples even if the conditions are not satisfied. So in that case, I will make use of outer joins. Okay, I will keep all the tuples of the relation R, or all that are there in S, or all that are there in both the relations, regardless of whether they are matching, whether the condition is satisfied or not. I will still keep all the tuples. When I do that, that is what I call it as outer join. I'll take some examples so it will become clear. Okay, why do we go in for outer join? When you don't want to lose any tuples. Just because they are not matching, I don't want to lose them. I want to still retain them in my resultant table. Then I call it as outer join. Look at the last point, which is very important. The join operations where only the matching tuples are kept in the result, we call them as inner joins. If the condition is satisfied, those tuples will come in the relation, come in the result, is it not? That is nothing but our inner join. So all our queries that we have written so far, first exercise mein, whatever we have written is all nothing but inner join. Because wherever the condition is satisfied, only those tuples will appear in the result. So it is inner join. Outer join means what? Even if the condition is not satisfied, we want those tuples still to appear in the result. That is nothing but your outer join. Am I clear? Outer join is used to keep all the tuples in R or all the tuples in S or all those in both. See this. Regardless of whether or not they have matching tuples in the other relation. Even if the condition is not satisfied, I want to retain those records. In that case, I make use of outer join. Inner join means what? Wherever the condition is satisfied, only those tuples will appear in the result. That we have been doing. That is nothing but our inner joins. Only those wherever condition is satisfying. Let us take this example only. See here. What we did here? Employee, we took the Cartesian product. That's fine. And then we applied some condition here. Sigma of SSN is equal to ESSN. What will happen here? Only wherever this condition is satisfied, only those records will appear. So 101 and 102 came. 103, these two will not come at all. Because it does not appear in my dependent table. 103 is not there. So it will not come. So I lose that record, is it not? In the result, in the resultant table, I will lose this information about Geeta or 103. Correct? See here in this table, I have not got it. This is nothing but your inner join. Wherever condition is satisfied, it has come in the result. That is inner join. Condition is not satisfied means what? It will not come. So I have lost this information. 103 ka information I have lost. I don't want to lose this information. Even if the condition is not satisfying, I want those records to be there. To be there in the table. Then I make use of outer join. Right? Is it clear? Difference between inner join and outer join?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Let us see some. There are different types of outer join. There is only one type of inner join. That is, wherever conditions are satisfied, those tuples will come. All such joins are inner join. S dot USN is equal to B dot USN. Wherever it is satisfying, all those records will come. That is inner join. That's all. Only one type of inner join. But there are several types of outer join. What are the different types of outer join? We have left outer join, right outer join, full outer join. Okay? These are the three different types of outer join. Left, right, and full. This is the example that I am going to take for outer join. I hope it is clear. We have taken, I will just read it out. We have taken two tables. One is loan. The other one is borrower. Okay. In loan, we have loan number, branch name, and amount. In borrower, we have customer name and loan number. So we are trying to connect these two tables using loan number. That is the common attribute between these two. So we can always have a join based on the loan number. All right. So we have 170 or 230, 260 here. Here you have 170, 230, and 150. This is the example that I'm going to take for our loan. I'm sorry. Outer join. Okay. Now let us first see what is a left outer join. Left outer join means it will keep every tuple that is present in the left relation or the first relation. First is your left. Also, first relation is also the left relation. Second relation is also the right side relation. Okay. So left outer join means what? It is going to keep every tuple that is present in the first relation. Look at the symbol of left outer join. Left outer join. Look at the symbol. There is an extension on the left side. Join operation, we know the symbol. The same symbol, there is an extension on the left side. That is your left outer join. Okay. If no matching tuple is found in S, then the attribute of S in the joint result is always filled with null value. What do we mean by outer join? I told in general, even if the condition is not satisfied, I want those tuples in my record, in my result. That is your outer join. Left outer join means what? I will retain all the records in the left side of the table, whichever is my left side of the table or left side of the relation, join. I will retain all the records there. Even if there is no matching record in S, I am not bothered. I want all the records of R to be present. Let us take an example. I took that loan example. Same thing I will take. See here. What you have done, this is an example for left outer join. This is a symbol, of course, I said. We are applying left outer join between loan and borrower. So what is the condition? Loan dot loan number is equal to borrower dot loan number. I am applying a left outer join. How do I make that out? Because of this symbol. I can say we are applying a left outer join. Which is the left side of the table here? Loan. Right
Loan.
side of, right side of borrower. Right? Left outer join means what? All the tuples of my left table should be retained, even if there is no matching condition in the right side. Okay. Now, when I say loan dot loan number should be equal to borrower dot loan number. All right. What is the these are the only two records which are matching. Is it not? 170 and 230. So if you apply an inner join, only these two records should come. The last record, this will not come because it doesn't match there. Correct? But we are not applying an inner join. We are applying a left outer join. So left outer means all this I want to retain. Left side of my table. What is loan is the left side. All the records of loan I want to retain. So I will retain 170, 230 and 260 even though there is no matching record for 260 in my right side table. So what will be my result? Look at the result here. I am retaining everything. All the three is coming here. 260. 260 doesn't match. So what we show here? We show it as null because it doesn't match. That is what is given here. If no matching tuples are found in S, then the attributes of S in the joint result are filled with null values. Left outer join keeps every tuple present in the left relation in the result of left outer join. So that's what we have done. It will retain everything. L260 doesn't match. Condition is not satisfied, but still it will come here. Corresponding value here will be null. So why did I apply this left outer join? Because I don't want to lose any loan numbers of loan table. That is why I applied it. I want to know for which loan number we don't have any corresponding values. Am I clear? Left outer join.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, these are all very important. They will ask you the different types of joins: inner join, inner join, and outer join. You may have to give examples and write it. If we had applied inner join, what will be the result here? Can anyone tell me?
Only two tuples will appear, ma'am. 170 and 230.
Exactly. 170 and 230 will come. This L260 will not come. That is an inner join. We have been using inner joins everywhere. Okay. So let's move forward. Next is right outer join. We saw left. Now we are seeing right. Right outer join means what? It is going to keep every tuple in the right relation. Whichever is your right side table, it will keep all the tuples there. If there is no matching font, left side table, there is no matching font, then it will put it as null in the left side table. That's all. So look at the symbol. Same join symbol with an extension on the right side. That is a symbol for right outer join. I will take the same example, loan and borrower. See what we are doing here. We are applying a right outer join between loan and borrower. This is an indication that it is a right outer join. Loan dot loan number is equal to borrower dot loan number. You are applying it on borrower. Right outer join. So whatever is there in borrower table, I will retain all the records. All are retained. Even 155 will come in, though there is no match for 155 in loan. So corresponding loan value here will be none. Same thing. Instead of doing on the left side, we do it on the right side. That's all. All the loan numbers of your borrower table will be retained. If it was inner join, then this L155 would not have come. We would have got only 2 records if it was inner join. It's an outer join, right outer join. So we are trying to retain 155 also. There is no matching records for 155 on the left side. So we have taken it as null. Is it clear? Right outer join?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Any doubts, anyone? Left outer join and right outer join, any doubts? Now, what do you expect in a full outer join now? Having understood what is left outer join and right outer join, what do you expect in a full outer join?
It's a combination of left and right outer join, ma'am.
Yes, it's a combination of left and right. So you will retain all the records in the left also. You will retain all the records in the right side table also. Wherever there is no matching records, you are going to put it as null value. Right? That is going to be your full outer join. Yes. It keeps all the tuples present in both the left and the right relations. Look at the symbol. Look at the symbol. There is an extension on both the right side as well as the left side. Let's take an example. Look at the example. Loan dot loan number is equal to borrower dot loan number. I am applying a full outer join. How do I get to know that? Because of this symbol between loan and borrower. See, we have retained all the records of loan. We have retained all the records of borrower because it is full outer join. Wherever there is no matching, there is no matching value for L55. That is why I have taken this as null. There is no matching for L260. So this value will be null. So though there are no conditions matching, we have still retained all the values of loan number on both left and right relations. But for that matter, this is not same as Cartesian product, all possible combinations. No, we are not getting all the possible combinations. We still have a condition. Condition is not satisfied, that's all. Cartesian product mein there is no condition at all. Here we have a condition, but the condition, we are retaining the records of retaining those records also where the condition is not satisfied. That is the difference. You should tell. You cannot say, for that matter, you cannot say outer join is same as Cartesian product. No, not at all. Is it clear? Joins. So anything wherever you are going to retain only those where the conditions are satisfied, then you call it as inner join, as I told you already. Okay. Any questions so far? Any doubts in inner join and outer join? Join, inner join, outer join. Theta join is a specific generic term wherein the theta can take any values, any operators. Any doubts so far?
No, ma'am.
Right. Okay. So let's proceed. Next, we are going to move on to an important, slightly tricky operation, which is the division operation. Okay. Well, I will not go into these theoretical details right away. I will take some examples and then let's come back to this. Okay. Look at this example. Now, Listen carefully here. We have a table R, which has got two attributes, ESSN and P number. P number may be some project number, something like that. ESSN is an employee ID. Okay. And we have employee, who are the employees working on which projects. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is working on 1 and 2. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 working on 1 and 2 again. 3, 5, 3, 4, 6 is working on just 1, like that. We are dividing this table into two parts. Or rather, we are taking a subset of this particular table R. That is nothing but our yes. Why did I call it a subset? Because S is going to contain one of the attribute of R only. Nothing different. Okay. That's why I say S is a subset of R. You have taken this R table, contains ESSN and P number. S is a subset of R, which is going to contain just one of the attributes of R. That is nothing but here your P number. And it need not contain all subset, I said, correct? So subset means it need not contain everything, but it should contain only whatever is present in R. It cannot contain something new, right? So here I am taking 1 and 2. These are the only values for P number, so I am taking all that. There may be 3 also here in case of P number in terms of R. I may not take it. All that is fine. Now, when I take R divided by S, what do I get? I am getting the SSN of people who are working on these projects 1 and 2. So your result will always be in terms of your ESSN. This project number will not come in the result. R divided by S. So what is left is actually your quotient, is it not? What is this here? Quotient. So that quotient is nothing but your ESSN. So who are working on 1 and who are working on 2? This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is working on 1, is working on 2 also. Yeah, he is working on 2 also. Then project number 2 is given. You have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 working on 2. And you have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 also working on 2. So that is why these 2 records will come as part of your division operation. Any doubts? Now, wherever you want to write queries which are of the form all, that is where you make use of this division operation. I will give you a couple of more examples. Okay. These are the kind of queries wherein you will use this R divided by S. When we wish to express queries with all. See here, which persons have a bank account at all the banks? Which students are registered on all the courses? Which students are registered on all the courses taught in period 1? Which girls are registered on all the courses taken by the student something? For all these kind of queries, we make use of division. I'll take you through a couple of more examples. I said. Look at this. This is a table A and B. There are 2 attributes here, A and B. A is a customer name, B is a branch name. 1 and 2 here is what? 2 specific branch names. 1 is a particular branch name, 2 is a particular branch name. Okay. Now, I told you we'll always take a subset, another table. Yes. This is one table R. This is a table R in which contains A and B attributes. We are going to take another table B, which is, another table S, which is going to be a subset of R. Remember that. That is an important condition for division. Okay. Now, in that relation or table S, which is a subset, which is, we have to take one of the attribute of R. Which attribute are we taking here? We are taking B. And what are the values I am considering here? 1 and 2. Here we have 3 also. But I am not taking. I have 4, I have 6, but I am not taking. right? It is a subset. So I need not take everything, but I should take only something which is there in this R table. I cannot take which is not there. Suppose I can't take here 8, then that will become wrong. Okay. Now, find the customers who have account in all the branches of the bank. That is the kind of query that you will be trying to answer using this division operation. Now, when I take R divided by S, you have this B attribute coming in yes. So your answer should always be in terms of this A attribute. B will not come in your result. 1 and 2. Customer A, alpha is associated with 1, alpha is associated with 2 also. Okay. Then who else? Beta is associated with 2 here, beta is associated with 1 also. So your result will contain alpha and beta. Is there anybody else who is there with delta is there for 1 but is not there for 2? Are you observing? Delta 1, delta 3, delta 4 is there. That's all. Gamma is there for 1 but there is no gamma 2. So you cannot take it here. It should be there for both, all. That's why we said customers who have an account in all the branches of the bank. All the branches means which branch? These 2 branches, because we have taken 1 and 2 as the branches here, subset. Is this example clear to you all? What is division?
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts, ask me. I'm just summarizing. You have a relation R, we have a relation yes. R is a table, yes is a table. We are going to perform R divided by yes. Now this yes is R is a proper table it is. Now this yes is going to be such a table which is supposed to be a subset of R. That means one of the attribute of R you are going to take it as your attribute in yes. So it may have all the values of that particular attribute. It may not have all the values, but it should have values which are there in R only. You cannot have a different value there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. These are the possible values for B, for the attribute B. But in yes, what we have taken? We have taken just 2 values, 1 and 2. That's all. I need not take everything. For that matter, I cannot take something different like 7, 8. I can't take because it is a subset. So I'll have to take care of that. So when I do that, R, B is the attribute that we have taken here in the table yes. So your result should always contain the attribute A only. You cannot have B in the table, in the resultant table. Okay. So who are the customers who are having account in this branch 1 and 2? All the branches. Why we use this? I said wherever you want to use all, we make use of division. All means what? Who are the customers who have an account in all the branches? All the branches means not 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 and all that. All is our 1 and 2. If the customer is having account in both 1 and 2, then you bring out such customers. That is what is your division operation. Any doubts, anyone? Division operation? Examples, you have to write examples and explain it, because through examples you can support your answer very well. Is it clear? Division operation? Yeah.
Ma'am, for that means that subset table, do you have to take according to, means can we take any values or according to the question or something?
No. See, question is whenever you are taking yes, yes should be a subset. S is a subset of R. Means whatever values are there in R, you have to take a couple of them only. Either you should take, you can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. These are the possible values in B. You can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. All the values you can take it in B, no problem. Or you take a couple of them, no issues. Whatever you are taking, that means we have to find out who are the customers who are having account in these branches, whichever you have taken in yes. We are not taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. We have taken just 1 and 2. So we will use only for 1 and 2. Are you getting me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, see, division operation is used for queries which involve all the qualifier. Find the names of sailors who have reserved all the boats. This all depends on how many values you have taken in that subset. Only those, not everything. Right? Let me take one more example. I'm taking a lot of examples so that this becomes very clear to you what is division. Right. So here what we have done, we have R is my, this is my R table. Now whenever I take S, I said S should be a subset of R. So I have to take one of these, there are two attributes in R, one of them I have to take it as an attribute in S. Either I take it as lecturer as an attribute or I take module. This module I have taken, but I have named it as subject. That's okay. So what values I have taken? I can take all these values or take a couple of them, but I cannot take something which is not here. That I cannot do. But I have taken here only one. That's all. So who are all the lecturers who are going to teach this subject prologue? That is what is your R divided by S. So your result should always contain the lecturers and not the subject again. So who are all teaching prologue? Green is teaching prologue, Louis is teaching prologue. That's all. So these two names will come here. Is it clear? Example is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
One more example I'm taking. Same table, but your subset I'm changing. Subset I'm not taking just prologue, I'm taking database and prologue. So we have to find out R divided by S means what? You have to find out who are all the faculties or lecturer who are teaching all the subjects. All means what here? Only database and prologue. Whatever you are taking in this subset table, yes, sir. That is our all. Okay, who is teaching both the database as well as prologue? Brown is teaching database, but he is not teaching prologue. Right? Then green is teaching prologue, green is teaching database also. Louis is teaching prologue, but he doesn't teach database. So you cannot consider. Smith is teaching database, but he is not teaching prologue. So you can't consider. So there is only one fellow called Green who is teaching both. Who is teaching all the subject, all with respect to this S table, not with respect to the R table. So your result will be green. Are you clear?
Yes, sir.
See here, one more example I am taking. This is your R table. S should always be a subset. So what I have taken, subject is one attribute I have taken. What values I have taken here? Compilers and prologue. That means I have to find out lecturers who are teaching all the subject. All means what here? Compiler and prologue. That is all. Not all this which comes in R. Whatever comes in S is our all. Who is teaching compiler and prologue both? There is nobody. So there is no result. Right? Look at this one more example I took. Look at this. This example is again very interesting. This is our table A, or rather our R table. I have many tables here. B1 is one subset. Okay, B2 is another subset. B3 is another subset. I will take 3 different subsets and then find out the division. A divided by B1, A divided by B2, A divided by B3. These are 3 different divide operations or division operations we are doing. B1 is a subset of A, correct? So one of the attribute I should take, I have taken P number. Then what are the values I have taken in B1? I can take everything, but I have not taken. I have just taken P2. That's all. That means I have to find out who is the S number who is working on all the P number. All the P is only P2. Nothing else is there here. So who are all working on P2? Yes, A divided by B1 is your S1, S2, S3, S4. All these are working on P2. That's all. Next subset I am taking is B2. Here in B2 I am taking P2 and P4. Both I am taking here. I am taking both. So who are all the people who are working on all the projects? All means what? P2 and P4. That's all. So who is working on both these projects, P2 and P4? P2 and P4. S1 is working on P2. S1 is working on P4 also. S2 is working on P2. S2 is working on No, he's not working. It's not S2 is not working on P4, so I cannot take. Then S4 is working on P2, S4 is working on P4 also. So I can take S1 and S4. See here. S1 and S4. Next, I'm taking B3. B3 is a subset. So what values I'm taking here? P1, P2, P4. All the three I'm taking. So who are all the S who are working on? All the P. All the P means what? All is here, P1, P2, P4. They should work on all the three. Then only I consider the number here in the division operation. Result of division. So A divided by B3 is what? Who is working on everything? P1, P2, P4. It is S1. So your result is containing S1. Is your division operation clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So that is what is written in here. Well, anyway, that theory part is also the same. So that's why I came to examples first, so that it will be easy for you to understand. Otherwise, it will be a little difficult if I go directly into the theory. Examples will make it more easy to understand. Yeah. So two important operations we saw was join and division. Join, again we saw inner join, outer join, different types of outer join, and then we saw the division operation. Right? Answer your attendance, Anaka.
Yes, ma'am.
Abhilash.
Ma'am.
Akil. Akrut.
Ma'am.
Anusha.
Yes, ma'am.
Arvind.
Present, ma'am.
Arifullah.
Yes, ma'am.
Dhanaka.
Present, ma'am.
Banu. Bhargav.
Yes, ma'am.
Rahmatullah.
Present, ma'am.
Chaitra.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. Chandana.
Present, ma'am.
Charan.
Yes, ma'am.
Darshan.
Present, ma'am.
Dakshayani.
Present, ma'am.
Diksha. She's not there. Kishan.
Present, ma'am.
Harshit.
Present, ma'am.
Hema.
Present, ma'am.
Uma.
Present, ma'am.
Jayant.
Present, ma'am.
Divya.
Yes, ma'am.
Kaushik.
Present, ma'am.
Lakshmi.
Present, ma'am.
Lavanya.
Present, ma'am. Mic issue.
Manish.
Present, ma'am.
Manoj.
Present, ma'am.
Mohit.
Yes, ma'am.
Naval. Navya.
Present, ma'am.
Nikhil.
Present, ma'am.
Panindra.
Present, ma'am.
Pavan. Pavan is absent. Pooja.
Present, ma'am.
Purnima.
Yes, ma'am.
Raman.
Yes, ma'am.
Rashmi.
Yes, ma'am.
Rupak.
Yes, ma'am.
Sai Kumar.
Present,
Samir.
Present, ma'am.
Santosh.
Present, ma'am.
Chadar.
Present, ma'am.
Sharan.
Present, ma'am.
Shashank.
Present, ma'am.
Peter.
Present, ma'am.
Shivani.
Present, ma'am.
Soumya.
Present, ma'am.
Spurti.
Present, ma'am.
Vishnu.
Present, ma'am.
Sugandhini.
Present, ma'am.
Sushma.
Yes, ma'am.
Sushmita BS.
Present, ma'am.
Sushmita U.
Present, ma'am.
Rita.
Present, ma'am.
Tripti.
Present, ma'am.
Varshabina.
Present, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, Rahmatullah present, ma'am. Mic issue.
Okay. Diksha is not there. Then Pavan is not there. These two are absent. All right. Okay. So we'll see in the next class. We'll try to continue. Right? Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.